What's up, YouTube? It is your Lord and Savior King D355. The results of the WWE TLC pay-per-view. This might be a tad shorter than usual because I just failed to record the first attempt and I'm already tired of this shit. So, let's get this over with. First, with the kickoff match, we have a 10-man tag team match. You know, the kind where we just throw together who we don't know what to do with and have them have a match. In this match, we had the Hype Bros, American Alpha, and Apollo Crews taking on the team of the Ascension, the Vaudevillains, and Curt Hawkens. I almost called him Curtis Axel. That would have been lovely. As per the usual fare, really is nothing much to talk about here. It's just your basic, let's have the jobbers come out for a moment match. And it ends with American Alpha hitting Grand Altitude for the 1-2-3. The first match of the actual night, we have the SmackDown Tag Team Champion match, pitting Heath, Slater, and Ryhno versus the team of Bray, Wyatt, and Randy Orton. The match starts off with Ryhno fighting for Heath and Ryhno, which is a first in all their tag team championship matches, and Bray Wyatt starting off for the Wyatts. Bray and Ryhno have a short back and forth before Bray tags in Randy. Randy and Ryhno then have a short back and forth before it ends in Ryhno getting an arm wrench on Randy and tagging in Heath, who then double diving axe handles Randy's arm. Heath and Randy brawl for a bit before Randy pushes Heath into the corner. Randy runs at Heath only to get double kicked in the... Actually, no. My apologies, that's not what happened at all. Randy and Heath are fighting. Randy punches Heath away. Randy runs at Heath only to get hit with a Heath's leg lariat kick. Randy then finds himself crawling up into the corner, and Heath charges at him, clotheslines him, runs back to the opposite corner, goes to clothesline him again. Randy launches Heath over the rope, but Heath lands on his feet. And then as Randy gets punched away by Heath and then goes at Heath, distracting the referee, Bray Wyatt clotheslines Heath's head off his goddamn shoulders. From that, it's the usual just beating and battering of Heath Slater, with a short break when Randy goes for his patented apron DDT, only for Heath to counter it, and to then punch away Bray, kick away Luke Harper, springboard into the ring, only to get power slammed by Randy. 1-2, Heath kicks out. We continue the utter battering of Heath Slater, and then Heath manages to tag in Ryhno, who then goes to work beating down Bray. Ryhno goes to spare Bray, but Randy pushes him out of the way, saving him. Ryhno then goes outside of the ring to stalk Randy Orton, and goes to spare Randy, only for Luke Harper to kick Randy out, for Luke Harper to shove Randy out of the way, saving Randy Orton. Ryhno just stares at them, somewhat surprised by what happened, only to go in after Bray Wyatt. And as Ryhno goes in, Bray goes into his spider walk stance, and Ryhno just stares at him for a moment before Randy Orton comes in and RKOs him, quote unquote, out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3, Ryhno and... Not Ryhno. Bray and Randy are your new tag team champions. The next match of the night, we have the no disqualification Divas match between Nikki Bella and Carmella. In terms of spots, there weren't many other than Carmella injuring Nikki's leg, although I don't remember how she went about doing that. And I set this match up wrong, lovely jubblies. This is why I'm so annoyed that the first attempt at this messed up. The first attempt, the Divas tag match, went perfectly long enough. Perfectly long enough. But now, since it didn't go perfectly long enough this time, I have to waste time setting up another match. So that's just lovely. That's just lovely jubblies. So I'll set up the main event for tonight. AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose. Deanie Winnie. Deanie Winnie Winnie. I am not funny. And that payback, because why not? Wait, no, I still made AJ me. Screw it, I'll tell you about the Divas match while I set this up. So anyway, as for spots, all we really have is Carmella injuring Nikki's leg, hanging Nikki up on the Tree of Woe, beating the hell out of Nikki with a kendo stick. There was a point where Carmella locks in the Code of Silence, only for Nikki to get out of it by hitting her with the kendo stick again. And there was one last big-ish spot where Nikki did her normal springboard enziguri kick, but instead of doing it from the top rope, she did it from on top of the barricade. Anyway, the match actually ends with Carmella trying to pull Nikki into the ring, only for Nikki to pull out a fire extinguisher and just spray Carmella with it. Carmella gets off of her, and Nikki comes in and continues to spray Carmella with the fire extinguisher. Once the fire extinguisher runs out of extinguishing fluid, whatever fire extinguishers shoot out, Nikki Bella hits her with the Rack Attack 2.0. 1, 2, 3. Nikki wins the match. There were 2 points I wanted to bring up. I'm just going to zoom through them right now. Number one, there were still count-outs in no disqualification matches. I guess we now know no disqualification matches do have a difference than everything else. For some reason, count-outs are still a thing. And two, I always found it stupid how fire extinguishers were made to be a big deal. But JBL and the wrestlers themselves, honestly, tried their best to explain why a fire extinguisher is a big deal. And JBL goes on to talk about how the fire extinguisher takes all the air out of you. It's impossible to breathe after it. And Carmella sells this description because after the match, Carmella speaks. And before she speaks, she's wheezing as if she hasn't breathed in years. That aside, after Carmella's done coughing up a fit, Carmella then goes on to ask Nikki if she's proud of herself, and then explains that she wasn't the one that attacked Nikki from behind. It was actually Natalya. With that out of the way, we move on to the Intercontinental Championship match, and this match was a beauty, a pure beauty. So that, combined with the fact that I already explained the shit before and it got messed up, makes me not want to explain it again. Watch it yourselves. Trust me. Watch it yourself. It's a beautiful match. I am not explaining any of it. If you want to know what happened, watch it yourself. I will tell you the winner though, because this is a results video and I'm not the type of person to make a video and then not actually give what was promised. For the actual result, The Miz wins, and The Miz wins without Maurice's help, surprisingly enough. So with that latter match out of the way, we go on to the chairs match between Baron Corbin and Kalisto. And this was the best match Baron Corbin and Kalisto have ever put on with each other. Honestly, I'd call it Baron Corbin's best match ever in general. As for spots, we had spots where Kalisto seated sentons Baron Corbin into 6 chairs that Baron himself has set up. We have Kalisto Hurricane Ranaing Baron Corbin into a chair. We have a Tom and Jerry-esque moment where Baron Corbin's running around the arena trying to slam Kalisto's head into the chair, only for Kalisto to keep narrowly avoiding it. And the match comes to an end with Baron Corbin made an entire pile of chairs in the center of the ring, and Kalisto goes to hit him with the Slater del Sol onto the pile. Baron Corbin reverses the Slater del Sol, but still gets kicked down through all hell. and is now kneeling in front of the chairs. Kalisto then goes up to the top rope, presumably the seated senton him into the chairs again. But as Kalisto jumps off, Baron Corbin throws a chair into Kalisto's face, knocking him out of the air, and then picks Kalisto up to end of days him onto the pile of chairs. 1, 2, 3, Baron Corbin beats Kalisto. Now for the penultimate match of the night, and the match that was supposed to be happening for this entire video. Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. As per usual, main spots of the match, we had a spot where Becky did her little corner jumping kick thing, but instead of Alexa actually being in the corner, Alexa was on the apron by a preset table. So when Becky hit her, she almost fell to the table, but she held onto the rope just enough to teeter on the edge and keep herself alive. After this, Becky goes to grab her, and Alexa Bliss literally bites Becky's fingers to get back into the ring. The fighting continues, and Alexa Bliss ends up DDTing Becky onto a table. They fight on that table for a bit before Becky ends up getting a disarmer on Alexa on top of the table, with Alexa's arm being through the metal, so the metals of the table leg is adding to the pressure of her disarmer, or disarm her, as the game spells it out. That aside, the fighting continues before Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch find themselves on the apron next to a set table. They brawl and punch it out a bit before Alexa Bliss falls down. Becky goes to kick Bliss, but Bliss ducks the kick, grabs Becky by the legs, and power bombs Becky Lynch through the table. Alexa Bliss is your new SmackDown Women's Champion, and Becky's literally crying as she leaves the arena. Now we have the main event, which we literally just saw happen in the game. Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. No, I am not putting up another match. AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose is a spot fest. There is literally no point in me giving you it spot for spot for spot. I'll tell you the main spots, and then we'll go straight to the final. So a table spot. We have AJ Styles 450 splashing through Dean Ambrose. And we have Dean Ambrose elbow dropping AJ through the announcer's table. That aside, we go right to the end, where AJ Styles, after 450 splashing Dean Ambrose through the table, climbs up to try to grab the briefcase. But as he does, James Ellsworth comes out. AJ stares at James Ellsworth before climbing down from the ladder, pushing the ladder over and going out to greet Ellsworth. He punches Ellsworth down, sets up the stairs to do his Styles clash off of the stairs to James Ellsworth again, but Dean saves Ellsworth, clotheslining AJ and swiftly dirty deedsing AJ. Dean climbs up to grab the briefcase, but in a surprise twist, James Ellsworth shoves over the ladder, launching Dean into two tables at ringside. James Ellsworth then gets out of the ring and cheers on AJ Styles as AJ Styles climbs up and receives the briefcase. AJ Styles, just as you saw in that earlier match, retains his title. So that is the result of the pay-per-view, and honestly, it was a pretty good pay-per-view. The kickoff was meh as per usual. The Tag Team Championship match was meh, but can you blame them? It was Heath, Slater, and Ryhno versus Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. That is a lopsided match. There was honestly no way they could make that match entertaining. So what they did, it was good in its own right, showing solidarity through the Wyatts and showing that the Wyatts were indeed capable of acting as a well-loyal team. It was fine. No disqualification match between Nikki and Carmella. It wasn't anything great, but it was good for what it was. The Intercontinental Championship match, a masterpiece. Watch it. Watch it yourself. It was a beautiful match. The chairs match, again, the best match Baron Corbin and Kalisto have ever put on against each other. The tables match between the Divas it overstayed its welcome just a bit, but it was still a decent match, and AJ versus Dean was a spot fest. If you like that, you'll like that. If you don't, But overall, it was a decent pay-per-view. I'm going to stop rating these things because that's really not my job, and I honestly have no right to be rating things anyway. But it was a good pay-per-view. I'd suggest you all watch it if you can. If you can't, so be it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that recap. Like, comment, and subscribe, or don't. It's up to you. I'll see you guys later. Deuces, YouTube.